Today we'll talk about estrogen withdrawal bleeding. One clinical example of estrogen withdrawal bleeding is that which may follow bilateral oophorectomy during the follicular phase of the cycle. The estrogen withdrawal bleeding, that is one clinical example. One clinical example of estrogen withdrawal bleeding is that which may follow bilateral oophorectomy during the follicular phase of the cycle. The bleeding that occurs after removal of the ovary can be delayed by exogenous estrogen therapy, but will occur when the treatment stops. That example is estrogen withdrawal bleeding. Example is bilateral oophorectomy during the follicular phase of the cycle. The bleeding that occur after removal of the ovary we can delay this bleeding by giving exogenous estrogen therapy, but will occur when treatment stops. The estrogen bleeding we can delay by giving estrogen therapy when we are going for a bilateral oophorectomy during the follicular phase, but after stopping the estrogen therapy there will be estrogen withdrawal bleeding. Other examples include cyclical estrogen only hormone therapy in castrate or postmenopausal, where we are giving only cyclical estrogen only hormone therapy in castrated or postmenopausal women where the uterus already postmenopausal women or castrated women and the mid-cycle bleeding that can accompany the transient but abrupt fall in estrogen level immediately preceding and following ovulation. Other examples. First example is bilateral oophorectomy during the follicular phase. The bleeding that occur after removal of the ovary we can delay by giving estrogen therapy, but will occur when treatment stops. Other example, the cyclical estrogen only hormone therapy in a castrated or postmenopausal women, and the mid-cycle bleeding that can accompany the transient but abrupt fall in estrogen level immediately preceding and following ovulations. That is estrogen withdrawal bleeding, that is mid-cycle bleeding. Transient accompany the transient but abrupt fall in estrogen level immediately preceding and following the ovulation. These are the three examples. First example is bilateral oophorectomy after following bilateral oophorectomy during the follicular phase of the cycle. And second example, that is cyclical estrogen therapy, estrogen only hormone therapy in castrated or postmenopausal women. And third one is the mid-cycle bleeding that can accompany that due to transient but abrupt fall in estrogen level immediately before and following after ovulations. Remember, this is estrogen withdrawal bleeding. Estrogen withdrawal bleeding, three clinical example. One is the bilateral oophorectomy in the follicular phase. Second one is the cyclic estrogen only hormone therapy in a castrate or postmenopausal women, and third one is the mid-cycle bleeding that can be due to transient time but abrupt fall in estrogen level immediately before and after ovulations. Remember this thing.